Hello folks, welcome to this week's news video, and I'm going to crack right on with it. Independent forecourts are leading the way on fairer fuel prices. This comes from the Honest John website. Only 10% of a sample of 4,500 UK forecourts are charging fair fuel prices. The majority of these are independent forecourts. So with everything that's going on at the moment, the RAC considers a fair fuel price to be £1.74 a litre for petrol and £1.89 for diesel. That's based on wholesale prices and the amount of tax we pay and a bit of margin for the retailer and everything else. Its analysis of Experian Catalyst price data found that 157 stations are selling a litre of petrol between basically 171 and 180. Of these, 125 are independently owned petrol stations, 28 are major supermarket sites, and 4 are owned by oil companies. The remainder, some 4,436, or 96% of the people that are sampled, are selling unleaded at 180 or more a litre, which the RAC says is way over what is reasonable. There's a lot of blame being put on the supermarkets here because they usually sell about 4p cheaper than anyone else, and at the moment it seems they're just as guilty as the others. The RAC go on to say that when it comes to diesel, the weekly delivered wholesale price has fallen by 15p a litre from 161 in mid-June to 146 last week, yet average prices have only reduced by 4p since the all-time highs of early July. We continue to call on all major fuel retailers to go much further in reducing their prices in the coming days to ease some of the burden on drivers during what is the costliest summer ever on the roads. Right, next we're going over to Automotive News Europe. VW expects restocking commodities will cost more as production rebounds. VW expects higher price for commodities as chip availability improves and production rebounds. So saying here that chip availability is now improving, so the semiconductor shortages that we've had, that is now starting to improve. So what it means is companies will finally be able to start producing more cars again. Obviously there's a huge backlog of orders. Some companies we know are not even accepting orders at the moment because they've got such a massive backlog. So it probably won't sort of filter down to the car buying public for quite a few months yet. But already they're saying that things are going to be more expensive and therefore prices are going to go up. That's the long and the short of this story. To me, I think probably the car industry is looking at this as well, the used car market has benefited massively from these car shortages. Let's do the same for a bit. I don't know. I'm a cynic though, remember that. Right, one here from motorsport.com. First details of Porsche's F1 buy-in of Red Bull revealed. The first details of Porsche's planned 50% buy-in of the Red Bull Formula One team have been revealed in legal documents ahead of potential announcement next month. Despite the lack of any official press release announcing that the long-rumoured partnership between the German car manufacturer and the Milton Keynes-based F1 squad is go, formal processes have begun to ensure that the tie-in does not hit a snag. The leaked document reveals that Porsche are setting out a 10-year partnership with Red Bull, which includes a 50% stake in its Grand Prix operation. It suggests the partnership will be formally announced on August the 4th. This week's notification only mentioned 50% buy-in of Red Bull technology. It's understood the partnership will also extend to the separate F1 team business as well. Obviously, this will mean sort of Porsche engines going into Red Bull Formula One cars in future, and there's also a suggestion that that will filter across to AlphaTauri as well, Red Bull sort of number 2 team. Sticking with F1 for a minute, Sebastian Vettel has announced his decision to retire from F1 after a 15-year career. Four-time world champion cited his family as one of the central reasons behind his decision. If you've ever seen much of Vettel, he seems like a genuinely nice chap and quite a genuinely funny chap in a sport which is not without some utter bellends. To achieve what he's achieved and still be quite a likeable, nice chap is quite an achievement in itself. This is Autocar now, by the way. Porsche have recalled 40,000 Taycans over potential airbag issue. Defect involving wiring harness could disable airbags and seatbelt tensioners. So if you are lucky enough to own a Taycan, get on the phone to your dealer and get it booked in for that recall. Future Audi A3 lineup to be topped by electric RS3. During 2027, the lineup will get a new platform, advanced tech, fast charging, and a 435-mile range. This is a gorgeous looking thing. That's the best looking A3 I've seen for many a moon. Let's hope that it actually looks like that. Expect a sub 3.8 second 0 to 62 time from the electric Audi RS3. I'm not going to dwell on this one anymore because there's a fair amount of speculation about something that's not due out until 2027. But you have to say, it looks like an interesting car. 435-mile range. Sounds good. Just before I get onto this story from Auto Express, I just want to let you know that next Sunday's news video will be released at a slightly different time to usual. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to release it on the Monday or if I'm just going to release it later in the day on Sunday. The views have absolutely tanked recently. YouTube have changed their algorithm. My videos are not getting promoted to anyone other really than existing subscribers from what I can see. And of my 16,500 subscribers, only about 4,000 are watching the videos. That makes it completely unviable for me. So I'm just trying something new. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to releasing them at 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday. Just a bit of fair warning that 8:30 next Sunday, you won't be seeing a news video. It will be either later that day or on Monday. Speaking of subscribers, please do it. If you're one of the ones that's actually not subscribed, please do subscribe and please give the video a thumbs up. If you are subscribed, also make sure you hit that notification bell. This time of year, when the weather's nice and people are on holiday, videos don't get views. That means I can't pay any of my bills, which means I won't be able to do this in future. So please like, share, support. Thanks. Right, VW ID Buzz Cargo, priced from £38,125. So we looked at normal ID Buzz last week, which is going to be very expensive, about 57 grand for one of those bad boys. This is the van version, okay, the ID Buzz Cargo. They will sell an absolute cartload of these things. Oh, that 38 grand, however, is excluding VAT, so it's going to be about 45,750 for private buyers. It's going to run on the MEB electric vehicle platform and can achieve up to 256 miles of range, powered by a 77 kilowatt hour battery on a dedicated electric platform, meaning it comfortably beats the Stellantis Group's range of electric vans, like the Citroën e-Dispatch, the Vauxhall Vivaro E, which all manage around 205 miles of range. In terms of size, it's going to sit between the Caddy Cargo and the T6, 4.7 metres long, 2 metres wide and 1.9 metres tall, 3.9 cubic metres of space in the cargo. Maximum payload's only 650 kilos, which is not huge for a van, is it? And I have to wonder how much that range is affected if you have got the van fully laden. It's going to have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, a few USB-C ports scattered around the cabin, and interior storage includes the optional Buzz Box with a 5-litre storage drawer and top cubby featuring ice scraper and bottle opener. Look, as I said, that thing's going to be incredibly popular. They can sort of name their price on it because the order book will be full as soon as it's announced. So there we go. NewsangYong Taurus unveiled on social media. SsangYong's new Taurus will take on the electric SUV market in 2023. Expect a starting price of around 30 grand for this. Quite an interesting looking car. I mean, look at this. Wow. Quite a cool looking interior. Must admit, on the SsangYong vehicles that I saw at last year's British Motor Show, I was really impressed by the build quality and the interior fit and finish. It was much, much higher than you might expect. I guess it's their take on something like a Land Rover Defender in terms of its design, but it's not a bad looking thing. It's an interesting looking thing. Not too much more on that at the moment, so I shall move on. TVR Griffith to finally launch in 2024. V8 powered Griffith still on the cards despite TVR's new push for electrification. So TVR are obviously now back, and they announced the other day that they're going to be doing lots of pure electric stuff in 2024, but the V8 Griffith is still going to come out, and here it is. You can certainly see the old one in it, but they have moved the design on. So it uses a 5-litre V8 engine from Ford and a Gordon Murray derived iStream chassis. The Griffith has taken significantly less R&D than a bespoke ground-up vehicle in order to come to fruition. However, the key sticking point is actually building the car. So it looks like this car is going to be built in a new TVR facility in Ebervale in Wales. That's being funded by the Welsh Assembly by the looks of things, but there's still no confirmation that that's going ahead. What was initially going to be refurbishment of an old factory has now become sort of a big rebuild, and it looks like it's all getting a bit complex. So the fact they're keeping quiet on where it's being built perhaps suggests that There's no guarantee that that is actually going ahead and it will be built in Wales. I hope it is built in the UK. Volvo adds missing Apple CarPlay to newer models with over-the-air update. Apple CarPlay connectivity is now available in models using the Android Automotive OS. The infotainment software rolled out in new Volvos since 2021. So if you're one of those people that's got a newish Volvo, you haven't got Apple CarPlay and you'd like it, do your update and you've got it done. Unlike the old Volvo system as well, it's using the whole of the screen real estate. On the older Volvos, Apple CarPlay used to be in a tiny little window that was a little bit disappointing. Sono Scion revealed as production-ready solar-powered car. Sono is looking to implement its solar technology for other car makers. Solar-powered cars aren't just a pipe dream, according to German startup Sono Motors, because this is the firm's new Scion. It could reach customers as early as next year. Sono's been working on the Scion from 2017 onwards and has since then tailored over 19,000 reservations, made up of deposits averaging €2,225. Not a massive amount of detail in this article, if I'm being fair, but the car is basically covered in solar panels. It does have a charger, it does have batteries, so the car's going to have a range of about 190 miles, but they say that the solar cells will actually extend that by about 70 miles a week. That means your car will effectively be sort of charging itself while it's sat on your drive without anything plugged into it. Right, Motor1.com, first Lotus Eletre SUV rolls off brand new production line in China. This marks the beginning of a brand new era for the British sports car manufacturer, which plans to sell 100,000 cars annually by 2027. I know the economies of scale at force, I know the cost saving that's there, I know that the Chinese build a very good quality product these days. Lotus is such a fundamentally British brand, you know. I just feel like they've missed the trick by not making them over here. It was assembled at a brand new £1 billion facility in Wuhan, China, and it marks the beginning of a brand new era for the British sports car manufacturer. Geely bought 51% of Lotus in 2017. Geely are obviously a Chinese company. They own Volvo and Polestar and one or two others. The first ever SUV from Lotus has a dual motor setup that gives 591 bhp, a battery pack with over 100 kilowatt hours, and a projected range of 370 miles on one charge. There will be more powerful variants reportedly with over 900 brake horsepower, but those have not been confirmed as yet. It's also speculated that the battery capacity may be as high as 120 kilowatt hours. Wow. A lot of people were massively excited about this, but I'm just not. I don't think it's that bold a design, and I don't know, a Lotus SUV. Do we really need one? I'd love a drive-in one, Lotus. Thanks. 2024 Suzuki Swift Spy Shots preview definite changes in next-gen model. There you go. I wonder if they're going for sort of a little bit of a retro look on that. It's difficult to tell with all that camouflage on, but it's definitely a bit of a step change from the previous model of Swift. So we're over at Car Magazine now. The new Mini Aceman concept previews next generation of design. I must admit, my initial impressions of this are not favourable. They're clearly going after a younger audience with this. On the outside, I don't actually mind it, although it's a bit of an odd choice of colours with those green accents. It is only a concept, so I suppose let's wait and see what the final production version actually looks like. It's going to have a similar footprint to the likes of the Ford Puma, the Vauxhall Mokka and the VW T-Cross. It will arrive in 2024, and at this stage we don't know too much else. GM are going to return to Europe with an EV-only offer. Obviously, GM used to own Vauxhall or Opel, and they're huge over in the US, and they just decided to pull out of the European market a few years ago. There's no if about this, says the president and managing director of GM Europe. We've made a clear commitment that we're going to substantially contribute to the industry's transformation. So it means we could see things like Cadillac coming back to Europe as an EV manufacturer. There's also things like the Chevy Blazer EV, which is this car here, coming back to the European market. It's all speculation at the moment because they haven't sort of shown their hand other than saying we are coming back to Europe. Folks, if you would like to support the channel in any way, one of the ways you can do it is to go onto my website, notaguru.co.uk, and you can click this button and buy me a coffee. You'll also find the link to buy me a coffee in the video description and pinned as the top comment. I massively appreciate all the people that buy me a coffee, and special thanks to those who subscribe and buy me a coffee every month. It's only a small amount of money, But honestly, it makes such a difference. And if every one of my subscribers did that, I'd be a rich man, wouldn't I? Not everyone can afford it. Not everyone wants to support it. But thank you very much to all of you that do. Remember that next week's video won't be released at the normal time. It will be either later on in the day on Sunday, or I'll be releasing it on the Monday. I'm yet to decide. Okay. Thanks ever so much for watching. Thanks again for all your support, and I'll see you next week.